Alas, poor Urich. I knew him well. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the stings and setbacks of this outrageous hobby, or to go forth into the wondrous world of beekeeping. To be or not to be, I choose to be. Hi, Pastor Bob here with Bob's Bees, and this is All the Buzz. Thanks so much for watching today. Today's episode is To Be or Not to Be. We're studying the pros and cons of beekeeping. So let us go ahead and go forth. Alright, if you've been thinking about beekeeping, this is the video for you. Today's episode I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of beekeeping, the things that I really like, my benefits, the benefits that I receive from it, and the things that have been disadvantages, the negative aspects that I've discovered. And so, but first, let me go ahead and start telling you about why I first got into beekeeping. When we first moved on this property, we planted some fruit trees. They were doing good. They were all flowered out, and then nothing produced on them. After a while, we figured out that we discovered that there were not very many pollinators. The flowers were not getting pollinated. So I was out there self-pollinating. I would take a little brush and I'd brush the flowers and brush another flower, trying to self-pollinate the flowers. And you know what happened? Nothing. So we decided to start looking into keeping bees. That was one of the reasons that we started. Of course, the main reason people keep bees is for the honey. We love honey. I eat honey like a bear. I love me some honey. But there's other reasons. When we first started doing research into beekeeping, we really discovered that beekeeping was really good for post-traumatic stress disorder. I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and if you can't tell, I also have ADHD. And the bees really, really calm me down. They calm down, and it's been scientifically proven that the sound that the bees make, the movement of the bees make, it calms people down. So it also, not only did it help us with the pollination, but it helped me calm myself down and learn how to just relax. I would come out here and sit by the hives with a cup of coffee in the morning and just start the day off just enjoying the presence of bees. Then of course the other reason is the honey and the money. We gotta like to make some money from honey. We haven't really made a ton of money. In fact, that's one of the negatives we're going to talk about right now. One of the big negatives is, of course, the expense of getting started. It costs money to get started. You've got to buy your hives, you've got to buy your hive equipment, you've got to buy your suit, you've got to buy your hive tools, you've got to buy your smoker, you've got to buy your bees. Okay, let me talk about some of the disadvantages now. One of them is the reason that I'm up here instead of back there by the hives is you will get stung. In fact, I just got stung in the face while I was doing this video, and it's no fun at all. It hurts just as much now as it did the first time I got stung. Don't let anybody tell you you'll get used to it. You never get used to getting stung. In fact, while I was filming this over there by the hives, a bee just came up for no reason and stung me in the face. You will get stung. Another disadvantage that is really important to know is that there will be setbacks. You will have colonies that die. That is why someone suggested to me before I first got started that you start with 2 hives. Because if one hive dies, you'll have the other one get sick, one use a queen, you'll be able to put some eggs over so they can make another queen. So the best advantage that you'd have is 2 hives, because you do have colony collapse at times. Another big disadvantage is the mites, the pests, and the hive beetles. We've got destroyer mites, that's what they're called. Destroyer mites have been devastating the honeybee population since the 80s here in the United States. They weren't here before the 80s, so it was a lot easier to keep bees, but since then, now we have to do hive inspections. You have to inspect and monitor the mites and treat for mite. You have to do mite control. You have to monitor the mites. You have to do mite inspections, and also hive beetles. You've got to make sure your hive beetles don't get carried away. And then there's the wax moths. So there's pests that are really something that you're going to have to constantly work on. that brings me to the next disadvantage, but it is hard work. So it's a lot of hard work, and especially here in the summer heat in Florida, it gets hot out here, baby. So it is hot, hard work sometimes. It's really enjoyable in the winter, but here, I'm sure it's not up north, but it's really enjoyable when the weather's nice, but when it gets hot, it gets hot. It's very hard work. So for disadvantages, for the cons, you have pests that you have to monitor and control. You have the expense of getting started. You have setbacks of colony collapse for seemingly no reason. You've got hard work to do. You've got to inspect your hives. It's hard work. I believe, personally, I believe the benefits outweigh the negatives. I really enjoy, it's one of the most exciting, enjoyable, fulfilling hobbies I've ever gotten into. It's so good, it's so much fun to get honey and give it out to people and sell it for a few people, just make a little bit of money back on your expense. And it's just a fantastic hobby. A great community of people with the Beekeepers Association. So if you're thinking about going into beekeeping, I am telling you the pros outweigh the cons, but you have to do your research. You have to find out for yourself. You have to make sure you have enough property, the space, how many bees you can have in your state. So do your research, do your homework, and enjoy beekeeping. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it was inspirational, educational, and at least a little bit entertaining. And you got to know some of the pros and cons of beekeeping. So until next time, whatever you do, wherever you go, always remember, never, ever, ever forget to be amazing. See you next time. Come back here with Uric. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the stings and something. Oh, Uric. No, wait, it's alas, Uric. Are you done, bird? And go send, go forth, go something.